It's inevitable. Own enough china and use it long enough, and some of it will get broken. No? Just me? Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sonia, and I'm really glad you've stopped by. For years, this was one of my favorite teapots. I especially liked it because being solid white, it would go with any other china I put on the table. So even if I had a teapot that went with my place settings, I could add this one as a second teapot on the table without being concerned whether it matched. But one day, sadly, the lid got broken. I could not bring myself to chuck the whole thing, so I began to use it as a vase. The low profile made it really perfect to set on a table because it's not only pretty, but guests can see over it. And that's important for afternoon tea, when you might already have a tiered food tower that's very tall. Now, this is not an expensive teapot. I could get another one just like it on eBay for less than 20 bucks. Or I could leave this topless teapot as a vase and be done with it. It's been this way for years. But as sometimes happens, another teapot I owned got broken, only this time the only thing salvaged was the lid. So I thought, teapot, lid. Although not a perfect fit, it does fit well enough to bring the teapot back to its original purpose. That's a win. And now that I have a full teapot back, I could leave things as is, the cute little blue polka dot lid on the all-white teapot. But I think the mismatch is a little too obvious. So I want to try to bring the two a little more together by painting the teapot. Now, unfortunately, I have not been able to find an exact match for this blue color. It's more of a gray blue, what's sometimes called a Confederate blue. But here's what I think I can do. To fool the eye a bit, I'm going to attempt to transform the teapot body with several colors. And I hope, that will bring it all together. Now, I have a choice, which I experimented with on these little milk jugs. Now, I'm no artist, but I think I could get by with creating a garden of different flowers on my teapot like this. Or I could continue the polka dot theme like this. Well, I gave it a lot of thought, and I think the polka dots would work best because they will blend as sort of a neutral coordinating with other designs that might end up on my tea table. So, polka dots it is. So here's what I need. I have a really nice selection of non-toxic paint pens here. Now these happen to be acrylic. Some come in oil base, but I like acrylic because cleanup is so easy. These are also non-toxic. You wouldn't want to eat them, but non-toxic is not the same as FDA-approved food safe. But for today's application, they're perfect. So for this project, I think I want to go with this pink color. I think this is really pretty. There's not a name on the pen, but there is a number to identify it if it should get mixed back in somehow. Then the blue, I couldn't match exactly, and this is a little darker, but I think it'll go well in the end with what I'm trying to do. And then I wanted something kind of cheerful, so this yellow looks really pretty. I think that'll be perfect. And then I think I want a green, just to kind of bring it all together. And I really like this green. This is very pretty, but I'm not quite sure that's what I want. I think I want something a little more plant green. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I think this will work really well. And there we go. That's what I'll be using. Now the next item is this set of hole reinforcements. Do you remember when notebook paper would get torn and come out of the binder? Does anybody use notebook paper anymore? Anyway, these will keep the dots uniform, the sizes uniform, and it will help me with my spacing of the dots. And they just peel and stick, and they can be easily peeled off when the time comes. And finally, I want a sealant for my paintwork, so Mod Podge should do the trick. I'll talk more about that when the time comes, but this is dishwasher safe. It just needs a soft bristle brush to apply it, but again, more on that later. So the first thing to do is make sure my teapot is prepped and cleaned. So I'm going to wipe down the surface with a bit of alcohol. This will remove any skin oil, dust, or contaminants. Once that has well air dried, then I can start to apply the stickers. The great thing about this is because they do peel and stick, I can also peel them off if I need to move them around a little bit. Just want to get it kind of in a random pattern, nothing specific. I'm also going to put just a few on the lid, although I won't be putting the blue color on this lid. I will be putting some of the other, and it will help bring it all together. And we're off. The challenge is going to be to not get two dots of the same color too close. So you really have to just pick sort of random spacing. I'm going to do all of one color and then all of another so I don't get confused. Once I completed the first coat with all the colors, acrylic dries so quickly I was then able to go back over the dots a second time just to reinforce the color a little bit. And not to forget the lid. Once the painting was completed, I used a sharp blade to get under the hole reinforcers and lift them off, revealing the colored dots. So now that I have pulled off all the little hole reinforcements, and I did that so that I could see whether the paint had run or had bled a little bit underneath, and a few of them had. So by pulling off those reinforcements now, I don't allow those little mistakes to dry any more than they already have. Because this is acrylic paint, it is water soluble, so it is very easy to clean up and, correct my mistakes at this point. Now I'm going to let this dry for 24 hours and I'll come back with the next step. Okay, the paint has had plenty of time to air dry, 24 hours. It's dry to the touch, but I want to really cure it, so I'm going to bake it in my oven. I might not need to do this. It doesn't say to do this on the pens, but I'm going to do what I know is supposed to work with other acrylic paints used on glass and ceramics. This is sort of my belt and suspenders, if you will, because I want my teapot art to last. So it's going in my cold oven, which I am setting at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, gas mark 4. And it will bake at that temperature for 30 minutes. Then I'm going to turn it off and let the teapot cool down completely inside the oven. Might take an hour or two before I take it out. Then I'll be back with one last step. So it's been a few hours now, and now that the teapot and lid have completely baked and cooled, there is one final step of added protection I want to do. Mod Podge is a sealant that's going to give me a nice finish on the painted dots. Now this particular Mod Podge is dishwasher safe. If you buy it, make sure this is the one you get. While I don't plan to put it in the dishwasher, I think that level of hot water safety means I can certainly hand wash the teapot without any concern. By the way, this is labeled as non-toxic, but the FDA has not cleared it as food safe. But that's okay, I won't be brushing it around the inside rim or the spout where it could come in contact with the tea. If you end up doing a project like this that will come in contact with food, it's best to use something like an epoxy sealant, which, when dried, is considered food safe. However, just know that epoxy is not dishwasher safe. And I am just putting this on the dots rather than painting the entire pot. Mod Podge dries clear, but it can leave brush strokes. I don't want that on my entire pot. It's why I have a small brush, so I'm just doing my best to cover the dots. I'm putting a thin layer of sealant first, then another thin layer after the first has dried. And that's it. A new teapot is born. This will go with just about anything. And I think it lends a little whimsy to the tea table. So let's use it. I am so pleased with how this project turned out. What do you do with cracked or broken china? I know some people break it up and create beautiful mosaics. I am not that crafty. Let me know in the comments below what you do. And if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more afternoon tea videos. Until next time. Hang on a minute. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. I just wanted to add an enormous thank you for those of you who subscribe to this channel. We are now a community of well more than 5,000 afternoon tea lovers, and I find that really wonderful, and I am so excited for what lies ahead. Thank you for your interest, your encouragement, and your very kind comments on all my videos. They mean so very much. More to come. Until next time, bye-bye.